We could talk about this some other time. Let's see. Alright, cool. Now we're live. So now it's our game face here. Our professional faces. Let's see. Let me just post the link real quick for everybody. How many people we got? We got 15 people so far.
Did you send me a link to the
To the stream?
or invite to the game?
Oh, I need to send you an invite to the game. Oh shit. I thought I already did. My bad. See what there. I just sent it.
Alright, I got it.
Yo. Whoever's joining us, thank you for joining. I'm gonna post this link real quick. Bro, this track is gonna be crazy. This race is about to be wild. I haven't seen qualifying for F1, so don't tell me. But this shit is about to be wild.
Imagine if it rains.
Even if it doesn't, it's gonna be wild, bro.
I know.
This shit's gonna be so turned up right now. I fucking can't wait. Dude, I'm so anxious for ours tomorrow. What's up, Rusty? How's it going, man?
I haven't even watched qualifying either for. So we're in the same boat there.
Alright, cool. No more rain talk. Rusty saying, don't jinx it. He said, shutteth your mouth.
Oh, it'd be exciting.
It would be exciting. I think for me that what I'm going to be looking out for is people on the qualifying laps, because it's even if you're the most careful about not wanting to get in other people's way, you know, you're trying to stay to the side, but next thing you know, some dude is just flying behind you, and there's a lot of these blind corners you can't even see him coming.
Well, I'm more or less is probably looking towards who can get like absolutely in the rhythm of this track, because whoever's able to do that and keep that pace is probably going to dominate today.
Well, whoever can do it the quickest too. You can't take too long to get into that rhythm.
No, absolutely not.
But you're right. This is very much a flow track. I feel like you have to just kind of drive it on feel, and whoever can get locked into that zone, so to speak. I'm with you there.
Who are we still waiting on?
I think Hochi is trying to join. I think he'd be one of the last ones to join up here. Looks like we might have to miss Hochi today. We'll see if he can make it.
You messaging him through?
Someone is.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. I had to set up as a spectator as well.
Oh, nice. You about to get on track or what?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
Damn, bro.
Oh,
Easy,
for his
Tiger.
first debut.
Oh,
Yeah.
his debut as spectator, he puts it on pole. Alright, I think that's it then. I think the guys are gonna get going.
Awesome. So we got the Racing Point leading in points for this league.
We do. So we have the Racing Points at 117 points. They're in first place. So that is Domingos and Spartacus Mills. Spartacus Mills, who last I heard after his commentary last weekend, he actually got a bunch of offers for late night and TV. So we'll see if he stays with us because he did such a great job with the commentary. But the Racing Points are doing really good. Yeah, 117 points. They have one podium. They have one win. Now, with that being said, the Ferrari's right behind, and not farther behind is the Red Bull and the Alfa Romeo, and it's pretty tight. Ferrari's got 109 points in the constructors. Red Bull's got 101. Alfa Romeo's got 98. Mercedes has 89. I'm not going to go down the whole list, but I mean it's close.
I was going to say down the top 5, it's really still in anybody's reach.
It really is. And then in terms of also the driver championship, we did have a few changes. So Canino, who was previously in first position in the driver's standing with 71 points, he's since been promoted to Tier 1, so he's not going to continue this fight anymore in Tier 2. Same thing goes for Tiny, because he was in third place with 65 points. So what that means is NAFTA in the Mercedes is the effective leader of the championship at 69 points. And NAFTA's quick, but just behind him is Deinstein. And he goes by Meinstein in the game. He's in the Red Bull with 62 points, only 7 points behind. And only 2 points behind him is Domingos in the Racing Point. So,
well, curious as to see what you think about the points loss from those two drivers. What are they going to do as far as, them being brought up to F, the
top tier?
The top tier race. I mean, what are they going to do about their points?
So, from what I understand, the Whispers, a little birdie tells me that they're going to keep their points, and they're just going to be transferred over to Tier 1. That puts them somewhere in the top 3, 4, or 5. Just because long term, if over the course of a season, the true pace of the cars is gonna show, and where ultimately your pace is gonna determine where you're gonna be in the point standing. Since it's still pretty early in the season, at least that's my take on it. That's something that we still need to discuss a little bit. But what I do know for sure is that they're no longer going to be fighting here today. So we're gonna have to look out for NAFTA. We're gonna have to look out for Steinmine, Domingos. Nico John, who's always quick, and Vapor and Yuppie have been another one. Because Vapor, Vapor, he was with us before the merger in the old league.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Vapor's a good guy, but if we're straight, if we're just talking straight, when he first started with us, obviously he showed a lot of room for improvement. But if you've seen him in the latest rounds, he's been in that top 5 or thereabouts every single race. In fact, I think in the last race, I believe he qualified 4th. So anyway, what I'm saying is we got to look out for Vapor as well.
Well, yeah, it'll definitely be exciting to see what he can pull out on this track today. Looks like the Renault's first one out on track, starting the
hot lap.
Hot lap.
I'm going to pull up all the telemetry here so that we can see everything that's happening in the car. He goes a little bit wide.
Yeah, he does.
He goes a little bit wide, so
might as well pit.
Yeah, it's not invalidated, but maybe he wants to get this in as a banker, and then he can move on. This is young Boko. This is Milk Laren. Ever so clever with his wordplay, Milk Laren. He's actually an English major that specializes in Shakespeare.
Oh, really?
That's a joke. Okay. Alright, so now we've got
telemetry enabled.
Yeah, Michael, this is going to be a really hectic race. Yeah, Hulali, Monkey Muffy is on those mediums. So the medium tire, if you can get up there in terms of the position, the medium tire is going to be crucial if you want to go on that one stop, which is going to be very effective here because it's so hard to pass. What is your take on the medium tire to try to go for that one stop, T? Because you're not going to be able to fight at the very, very front of the grid with the medium tire on qualifying, right?
I'm not sure. You know, the only thing that I'm worried about really is the distance you can go with it. Because
Vapor puts it on pole, as you say that. 111.5.
Yeah, I was just gonna say a minute ago, Vapor looked real solid coming through on this hot lap.
I've been so impressed by this guy. So much improvement, and he's maybe not the biggest talker in the world, but he's talking where it matters. It's on track.
That's right.
But so what were you saying about that one stop though? You said
you said on the one stop, if you
try
can
to
push
qualify
it,
the mediums.
If you can push it, and you really can save on your tires. That's the only thing though. This track will, I mean, it'll eat your tires up.
I think it has less wear than you would expect, but at the same time, like a soft to a hard is really fucking hard, I think.
In my experience, I feel like the two-stop strategy is a little bit better for me. I'll say that only because of the fast pace and rhythm that you have to get slipped into.
Yeah.
To make it count on this track.
And it looks like Monkey Mafia on those mediums. He went off in the bank's final corner in turn 14. So we're just talking about that, right? Is that worth it? Because they do have less grip, and he's been caught out. So he's been caught out.
That's a tough break.
Yeah, and as we were talking about the strategies, Yuppie, he's another one. So he just put in a 111.278.
I see that.
So he's on pole, provisional pole.
Oh, it looks like there's some debris left on the track, too.
Oh, and Steinlein just improves to 110.9.
Oh, wow.
So he's flying. He's mighty quick today.
That Red Bull looks so good.
Yeah. Steinlein is always quick. If he can get... So Steinlein's another one. So I think if Steinlein, if he can get his pit strategy right, because I think in one of the recent races, maybe it was Vietnam, I forget off the top of my head, I think he pit like 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah. So wasn't exactly ideal, but he still points in the championship. No, I think there was some damage, and then he went back in for the wing. But then when he pit, the pit strategy on his game had put him on like a soft tire instead of a medium, so then he couldn't go to the end. And
yeah,
you know how that goes when everything's happening so fast.
That's right. It's real hard to pay attention to all those details, especially when you're sitting there trying to fight in a race.
And as you're sitting there trying not to throw your PS4 out the window from being frustrated. Right? So NAFTA puts it in P3 at a 111.3. So very, very nice job from NAFTA. NAFTA, who is always mighty quick. As Steinmeier jumped into the pits. So now we're in the second phase of the qualifying. Everyone's going.
This track's only going to get faster.
And it's only going to get faster.
Yuppie coming out of the pits.
Yeah, and I'm going to go on board with Vapor. So Vapor's on an outlap. We'll see. We'll watch. We'll see if we can watch his onboard here.
Okay.
So we're on board with Vapor. He's crossing the line to start his hot lap, and he was on pole, but now he's down to 4th. So he knows the track is getting faster.
Smooth through that first corner.
Really, really nice. Now he's got some traffic up ahead. We're gonna have to see how he navigates that.
This is the tricky spot here.
I love that corner, and Tim Lee gets out of the way. So nice heads-up driving from Tim Lee. But the cars are just coming, so Tim Lee's gonna be busy out there trying to not impede. Very nicely through that corner as well for Vapor, and he sets a purple sector 1.
Nice.
So he is ahead.
This is another tricky corner too. dropping down into third gear and trying to get around that side before your car starts pushing out to that corner.
Yeah, I actually stay in fourth, and my left foot is just like modulating the brake there to tuck it back in, but a lot of strategy.
I like the rotation that third gives you.
Yeah, but if I'm on the outside of you in fourth, that's how I end up passing you, remember?
We don't have to discuss that here.
Alright, Vapor, he just put it in the fastest sector too. He puts it on pole, 110.884.
Oh, yes.
1/10 faster. That's just unbelievable. It's so close here today.
You can definitely tell that people have been practicing.
Yeah, Domingo's posted in P3, 111.122. These guys are really quick today. Low-key, I'm kind of embarrassed for tomorrow because I love this track. I feel like I drive this track well, and I'm way off the pace. It's a tough track.
That's like we were talking about earlier, though. It's definitely one of those rhythm tracks. You have to get in that feel, in that groove, whatever you want to call it.
Right, you gotta get in the zone. But you're right. It's the rhythm. It's the rhythm. What do you see?
I was watching Tim Lee, but he was coming out. He was on an outlap.
Oh, and I'm on board with Domingos in P3, and we got a Renault of Feynman just ahead. Feynman, who looks to be flying, but it looks like he's going to be impeding here. It's just so tricky.
Let's see what's going to happen.
It's so tricky. Everyone's trying to go their fastest. Oh, and he hits the wall. And,
oh, Lord. Oh, yeah. What?
But Rusty, they were letting Rusty by. Let's go down to Rusty, see where he puts this car. He's coming around the final corner, turn 14. He's in the Alfa Romeo. He's pushing. And he's P15. Oh, I think did he just start his hot lap? I think he may have just started his hot lap. Yeah.
He might have.
Tim Lee crossing the line, starting his hot lap.
I don't know if you caught that, though, when Rusty was making that first turn. He went off into the grass.
No, I didn't see it. I didn't see it. I wonder if that invalidated his lap. But either way, he's gonna push for that next lap. And then let's see, who is this crossing the line? NAFTA's crossing the line, but he's starting his hot lap.
Yeah, that's the second. Rusty did it too.
Yeah. Rusty was he wasn't on the out lap. He was on a hot lap. So he's gonna go on a second hot lap. I wonder what happened.
It's just curious as to why they're doing that. You know, sometimes you can run corners wide like that, but it's usually whether a curb's there or an excess of track is there. But running off into the grass, it just seems.
See, I can understand it if it's during the race and that's the only lane that you have to try to get around the car.
Right.
But that's a situation that you really don't want to push, especially not in qualifying, because it's often not worth the risk.
No, especially when it's dirtying your tires as well. It's that grip that you need.
Yeah. Tim Lee then is in turn 14, and he's jumping into the pit. Looks like everyone's jumping into the pit here to get ready for their final runs. I'm on board with Oso. He's in P9 with a 112.2. He's starting his hot lap. So we'll see where he puts this one. Oso, who was running pretty damn good in last week's race, and unfortunately he got caught up in an incident with some other drivers, and he got turned around and got some damage, and it compromised his race, but he'll be looking to make up for that here today. So it looks like the two Haas cars are
back to back.
Yeah, bro controller yields.
Oh, he's got to be careful on
he's got to be so careful
on that curb there. We know all too well that one will put you in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it really will. This track for me is like, what's that kind of sand? The sand that just once it gets you, it pulls you in. Yeah, this track.
Quicksand.
Yeah, this track is like quicksand. If you even think about putting a foot into the grass or the gravel, it's gonna pull you out. You're gonna go for a ride.
It's those rounded inside corner curves that really like to do it.
Yeah, especially turn one. Okay, so Osa doesn't improve his time. He's going for another run. The Racing Point crosses the line. I don't know if they improved. I think that was Domingo's. Oh, and NAFTA.
Oh, NAFTA just spun.
Oh, and his second run now is compromised.
What happened?
So he lost it in the bank corner in turn 14. Which is
tough break.
Yeah, but he's got time to get into the pits, get situated.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay.
Yeah, take a breath and go for another run.
You know, even if he were in the position to where it crashed his car out, I don't believe he'd have been in too terrible of shape in P5.
No, but at the same time, anyone who is the racer, anyone who has that desire to try to fight at the top, is always going to be furious that they've taken themselves out of the position to get up there in the fight. You know how it is.
That's right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, let's see. The Alfa Romeo's crossing the line. Doesn't look like he improved. Or I think they just started their hot lap. I'm on board with Tim Lee. He's starting his hot lap. So it looks like the final runs are now being started. Also improves to P8. And we're still on board with Tim Lee. Let's see what he can put together here. Yeah, it looks like Daly does the death with 6 laps.
Oh, that was wide through there.
It was. He got away with it just about. He must have
taking wide angles in this track.
He must have signed a really nice life insurance policy. He's not concerned.
Oh, and he goes off a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, so that's going to cost him time. I don't think he's going to improve here, but...
Oh, those corners are dangerous.
You know, he is down in P14, so that's the thing is when you're trying to push over the limits of realistically what is your... We all have our own limit, right? In terms of our ability, and sometimes when you try to push too hard, what you're doing is you're pushing over your limit, and what's going to do... You're pushing harder, but you're going slower.
Well, I certainly believe that that's probably what separates, the
top 5
mediocre paced and the higher paced. It's that knowing where your limit is at, right, being able to push right up against it.
But as we can see from people and how they, drink, it's not always easy to find your limit, right?
That's right.
Or to be aware of it. Anyway, Monkey had put his car up in P5. So Monkey, who had just joined us last week as the debut driver as a reserve, he had a pretty good race. He didn't get really into any incidents. I don't believe he was in the top 5 or anything like that, but he kept his head down. He kept pushing. He got a good result, and now he's joining us as a full-time Alfa Romeo driver. And he's in P5, so great job so far.
Not bad.
The Racing Points crossed the line, and I don't think they improved their time. We got a Mercedes crossing the line, and I think that's NAFTA starting his hot lap. So we're going to go on board now with Steinmine. Oh no, who is this? Yeah, Steinmine crossing the line. He's starting his hot lap. Yep, he's starting his hot lap.
It's between Stein and Vapor at this moment.
Yeah. So this is really starting to come down to the final moments here, because I think at this point everyone's on their final runs. So we're on board with Yuppie. Yuppie knows he's only not even 2/10 off. He's a tenth and something off. Now he's got some traffic ahead. So what's going to happen? As Steinmine just puts in the fastest sector 1. See if we can cross the line here with Scorpio. Scorpio in P14. Now we're on board with Nico John in 11th. He puts it up to P10, so he improves. On board with NAFTA. NAFTA's pushing. He's crossing the line. He doesn't improve. He has time for one more run. We're on board with Steinmine in the Red Bull, P2.
He's coming across the line now.
Doesn't improve.
And nope. It was a good run, though.
It's a good run.
So it's probably...
Okay, everyone else is jumping into the pit, so we'll go on board with the next person to be crossing the line. Who is that?
NAFTA.
Scorpio. Scorpio is going to be next to cross the line. Yeah, he's ahead of the pack in the Red Bull. NAFTA, it looks like it was going to be impeded by a Racing Point. The Racing Point yields. It's a nice heads up driving by the Racing Point to let him by. We saw him on the hot lap. Yo, what's up, GM Outsider team? How's it going? I don't know who you are, but how's it going? All right. So Scorpio. Oh, he doesn't. Okay, so he doesn't.
He didn't improve any.
No, he just went into the pits. So who is that crossing the
And
line?
NAFTA's crossing the
NAFTA's
line
crossing the
now.
line. Doesn't improve. So those tires at this point, yeah, they're not shot, but they don't have as much grip as he needs to go fast. Who's that crossing the line? All right,
Domingo?
so, yeah, so this is it. So now what we have is Domingos on a hot lap, and who's that, Yuppie?
NAFTA should be coming in.
Yeah, I think it's just Domingos. Because now and Domingos invalidates his lap, so this is going to be our order. Oh, what's up, Canino? How's it going? Canino's joining the stream. So, Vapor put it on pole.
Had a really solid lap.
He was solid the whole way through. We saw a lot of these guys getting a little bit out of shape with either hitting that inside curve too hard or pushing that cornering speed a little too much and then ended up going wide. Or it was always one thing or another, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed that way. I think there may be a little bit of inexperience as far as this track goes on with some of the drivers.
It is, and it doesn't even matter how much experience you got. This track is just an animal. They don't make them like this anymore.
No, this is definitely an exciting track. Definitely one of my favorites. Seems like we've got one. No, that should be it, correct? Or somebody's out on an outlap? Yeah, Football Beast. So, let's see. Should have been the last. No, we've got Space Cowboy. And there is 32 seconds of time remaining. And that's the end of it. So here is the order.
you believe this?
What's that?
We got some rain.
I know.
Let's see who's in the chat here. Oh, it's the circuit owner, the driver, the hotshot driver who just signed with Red Bull. Steven, Zandvoort 2020 says hello. Well, boy, how's it going,
All right,
Renee? What's up, Cali Rob?
Starting the formation lap.
Yep.
In the rain.
In the rain.
It's going to be a fantastic race day now.
Isn't that the start of a Kanye song? Oh, no, that's In the Night. In the Night, not In the Rain. Never mind. Ignore me. So they're starting on inters.
Yep.
I know that the inters, I don't believe, can go the whole race. So even if it does rain the whole way, I believe that they'd have to pit anyway. So we'll have a chance for some undercuts. We'll have a chance for some overcuts, some pit strategy here. But I would imagine, based on the way that it's raining, but not too crazy, you could already see that there's a somewhat of a drying line forming. Yeah. And what that tells me is that's going to start to dry up. And it's possible that even if it does continue with some light, it looks like light rain to me. Even if it continues with some light rain, we could be looking at the possibility of some dry tires later on in the stage of the race.
I see that as, being likely, ending the race with some dry sets of tires.
Now, so what I'm curious about is how many laps these guys had put these tires on.
That's what I was going to ask you. How long do you think a set of these tires will stretch for?
I know in a 25% race they can do the whole race, and that's 18 laps.
That's right.
Now, I'm not 100% sure how it scales to the 50%. If it scales the same way, it's possible that they can do 36 laps, but I'm going to guess somewhere around 20 or so laps is what they're going to be able to do, especially as the tires are going to start to lose grip. So when you're talking about going through that banked corner, 13 and 14, or 14, excuse me, that banked corner, if you don't have grip there, and if it's wet, and you're going to be pushing it with on the tire wear, and you have less than even you have to begin with.
Yeah.
Is it worth it? Because if you spin there, that could be the end of your race.
Absolutely. I mean, probably what I would set up for is say, hey, I'm going to drive these intermediates as long as I possibly can.
Possible.
That's right. Until the track starts drying to the point where I can switch to dry sets of tires. If it'll last that long.
That's if you can make them last that long. So we're getting ready for the race start here. 5 lights on the grid. And they're off.
Lights out.
Who's got the best jump? Vapor's got a pretty good jump, but Steinmeier got a great jump. Steinmeier's on the inside of turn one.
Oh, they go a little wide.
But
Vapor's a little bit sideways.
We're on board with Yuppie. We're on board with and Domingos. And Domingos gets by on the inside of Yuppie, but very nice driving by the both of them. This is just incredible scenes. They get through cleanly in turn one,
for the most part,
everyone got through.
Feeman in the Renault might have had a little incident. I'm not entirely sure. He's dropped back a little bit from the pack.
But it seems like the guys were able to fumble just about over each other without killing each other. So Steinmeier in
got
P1.
A great jump.
Yeah, Vapor in P2. Yeah, Hubali, that's the game glitching out sometimes at the beginning. Sometimes it'll show like P17 and P1 or something, but...
Yeah.
And Vapor loses the rear end. He doesn't have any damage. So he will continue.
Race.
Yeah, it's a long race, but Steinmeier's getting away.
It's the one thing that I love about these wet races. You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know what's going to happen. You really don't. As long as you... And who is that jumping into the pits? NAFTA's into the pits.
What happened to NAFTA?
I'm not sure. Is he changing his wing? He's changing his wing. So he had contact with somebody.
He could have broken it going around the... Uh,
What, the car that went off or what?
yeah.
I didn't catch that, but he must have had some contact somewhere. It looked like it was still intact, but at the same time, once you know that you have wing damage, especially in the rain, you have to start thinking, do I just go in and swap it out because I need that downforce?
Well, I'm thinking what more than likely happened is when the pack was rolling through turn 3, and you know it gets real. Oh, we got a car off. Who was it? Monkey Mafia.
I don't see him. I don't see him off.
P15.
Oh,
he
down
ran
at P15. Okay, I see that. Yeah.
But yeah, going through turn 3
and Football Beast makes a move on the uppie, so he gets to move down. He's up into P4. Really nice driving by those guys. He saw him coming. He left them the space. Football Beast, I think that's Frankie. He got late. He got in there late on the brakes, but he got the thing just about braked enough to get into that corner, and he got the move done. And now they're on that straight.
Well, Bro Controller is right up the backside of Domingo here.
Yeah, we're on board with Bro Controller. He can see him. He can smell the position. He's gonna fight for it. He knows he's
Stein
just about got it.
Stein's walking away with it.
Well, Stein's an incredibly fast driver. Now, what is still to remain is to see whether Stein can. Oh, and Bro Controller loses the rear end a little bit. He tags the wall a little bit. He's right in the middle of the track,
does he break
so
that
that's
back
not
plate?
good. Vapor gets back around. So Vapor at this point is back into P6. Let's see if
Looks like he's driving with a mission now.
Yeah. Looks like Bro Controller's wing is intact. Yeah, Steinmine is flying. But Vapor was there as well, Canino. Vapor was there. He spun in, what turn is that? He spun in turn 12.
He's starting to see a good dry line starting to form up.
How's it going, Taun? So, Taun, I will never know how to pronounce that name. Vapor put it, Steinmine puts it in the fastest lap.
9 seconds.
9 seconds already, so we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Somebody's diving down into the pits, it looked like.
No, I don't believe so.
Maybe not. Okay.
So Frankie,
and Vapor gets passed by Oso, or maybe
oh, they're
Vapor's
side by side.
yeah.
Amazing driving by these guys. Also gets around on the outside of turn 2. Vapor a little bit impatient there. Tags the back of him, but they
definitely got to play the long game here.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, but they'll get away with that. Not a big deal, just a slight touch. He's got to be careful though, because that could easily end both of their races if you're not careful, especially in the rain. And now he's got to be careful because Vapor's trying to get back through the pack. He was on pole, remember, if you recall.
Right.
He did get beat to turn 1 by Steinmine, but he was right there. But now he knows he's quicker than these guys, but he's
going around the outside.
He is going around the outside.
And he looks like he's going to get the job done.
Really nice move by Vapor, but he's in the dirty air, so it's not going to be easy. And these guys are not going to give him that position easily either. But this fight right now,
definitely not.
We've got P2, P3, P4, and P5 right next to each other.
Yeah, it's definitely formed a pack up at the top 5 besides P1.
Yeah. Oh, so Vapor's got to run on the upbeat. We're going to stay on board with Vapor. He's all over the overtake. He's going to jump down the inside.
He's got the inside line,
but he
backs out.
Yeah, not quite enough. But really heads up driving for Vapor, because if he would have braked any later, that probably would have seen them both crash and go off.
Well, I think a lot of drivers make that mistake. They feel like they got the inside line, but then when the door starts to close, they realize that the car that they're trying to pass on the inside just doesn't. They don't have the room for it and get cut off.
Well, the thing is that if you're not fully next to a car on the inside, if you ask me, you don't really have the right to throw it up in there anyway. But it's not going to stop anyone from trying.
Yeah.
So it
looks like there's a little bit of a bunch up between.
And it looks like, who is that?
3 and 4.
Someone had gone off. Who is that? Is that Rusty? I think Rusty had gone off. I'm not 100% sure yet. But we'll stay on board with this fight for P2, P3, P4, and P5. So now...
And again, Stein just walking away even further, up to 13 seconds ahead.
We'll see what happens, because he can still be caught out by the strategies, depending on who jumps onto that soft tire at the opportune time. But these guys are just so close, and I'm actually going to go on board with Space Cowboy because he's behind Scorpio. This is the battle for P14. I'm not exactly sure what happened with Space Shep. He's struggling for grip, and Scorpio's getting away. So I'm going to go back up now to the other fight. So these are just incredible scenes. Incredible scenes. You've got P2, P3, P4, P5, just behind P6, and just behind him P7. And these guys are not letting up. So really nice driving by these guys. They've got to be careful. They know it. They still got 30 laps to go. So they do have to play the long game here. But of course they're going to try to fight to get ahead.
I do believe one thing that could benefit Domingo football, the Yuppie, is if a safety car would have dropped. Oh, and it looks like Rusty Oil Can went off. Or no, it was Ferrari. It was Ferrari.
Maybe it was, I'm not sure who that was. It could have been Shep, but we'll figure that out. In the meantime, I'm going to go back to this battle. But you were saying about the safety car?
Yeah, if a safety car were to drop at any moment,
what does that mean?
That 16-second gap.
Right.
Just drops.
Right. You're right.
And especially with all these cars being bunched up, anything could happen.
So what I'm thinking is if we do at some point, and it looks like it's starting to rain a little heavier now, so I'm not sure if we are going to get to that. And Yuppie lost the rear end. He got a little too aggressive on the application of the throttle there. Oh, and look at this move. Who is that? Frankie on the inside of Domingos. He gets it done.
How about that?
Amazing. And Vapor gets by as well.
Vapor's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah, Domingos didn't back off. He risked having his front wing tagged by trying to stay in that fight, even though he was a little behind, and he did get tagged a little bit. But that's racing. He was not in the right position to try, in my opinion, to try to hold on to that position. He did anyway.
Absolutely not.
He did anyway, and it looks like he has paid a little bit of a price for it, although his wing looks like it's intact, as Feeman gets a 3-second penalty. But really, really nice driving by these guys, because aside from little touches here and there, the guys are keeping it together. They're fighting, they're battling, and...
I mean, this is fantastic driving in the rain.
I think
you can't ask for anything better.
No, I think so. And so I'm not sure what's happening with Domingos, but it looks like he's looking for that pace again. He's lost it a bit. Everyone's making his way past.
I believe that, especially in his position, he got passed by 2 drivers. He's lost 2 positions. He's in that mentality that, oh my God, I've got to get those back, and he's pushing a little too hard. He just needs to settle back down into his pace.
Whatever rhythm, the rhythm you were talking about, whatever rhythm he was in, now he's fighting himself out of it. He needs to get back into it. So we'll go on board now with Vapor. Vapor is just behind Frankie, Football Beast. Yeah, what's going on?
Oh, he's going up the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of contact.
Yeah, he didn't get the thing turned around. He didn't get the thing stopped enough, in my opinion. That was a little bit of an impatient move by Vapor. He needs to be a little bit smarter than that. If you're not fully side by side with the driver ahead before the turn in, then, in my opinion, you need to back out.
I fully believe that sometimes you look for a hole that just isn't there.
But it's understandable, because we're not here because we want to go on a Sunday drive, right? We're here because we want to fight and win the position. So, fully understood, but Vapor's got to be careful, because that could have easily led to a spun.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what kind of gaps? Where are you seeing the closest battle on track? I think actually Monkey Mafia behind Daily Dose. Oh, he gets passed actually. We just missed it, but Daily Dose to Death got passed by Monkey Mafia. Who else is in a close battle? Okay, Vapor. Oh, Vapor is 1/10 behind Frankie.
Oh, and he looks like he's gonna try it.
This is crazy.
This is dangerous. They're gonna go side by side into the turn.
Unbelievable.
Oh, Vapor goes off the track a little bit. He just needs to calm down and wait.
He needs to calm down a little bit, but amazing driving by these guys. I even in the dry would be afraid to go side by side there, and these guys are doing this in the wet.
I doubt that I would try to make that pass. It's quite dangerous.
And now Rusty is trying to get by Domingos. So Domingos is...
I think Domingos is just falling. Oh, and there's a little bit of contact, and Domingos hits the wall.
He does. I wonder what's happened to his wing. Let's see if we can spot any damage.
Definitely looks like it's broken.
The front left end
plate.
blade.
And the Renault goes sliding off.
Let's go on board with the Renault. Where is that? Oh, he's out. He's out. So it's a virtual safety. The virtual safety car.
Just what we were talking about a minute ago. You know, that one safety car is going to bring that gap down, and it's going to make it a tight race.
But this is a virtual safety, so it's not a safety car. But this is a good time for Domingos.
Full safety.
No. But this is a good time for Domingos. He had gotten his wing clip, so
and he's just jumped into the pit now.
Yeah. So while everyone is slow, he can go and change that wing, and it's not going to cost him as much time.
Absolutely.
So, but this battle for P2 is turning out to be an insane battle.
It's a dogfight.
But okay.
It's a dogfight.
So NAFTA, he was at the back of the pack actually, and now he's up into P8. He's actually gotten ahead of his teammate. Well, his teammate did spin, but the Mercedes, Team Mercedes, in 8th and 9th. Not that we are biased or anything, but go Mercedes, right, Tiwado?
That's right. The Merc boys are back.
The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. All right.
So what do you believe? What do you think about that little contact that just happened
with
shoving him into the wall?
Well, I don't think it was intentional. Rusty was on the right side, and that was on the exit of turn 10. Rusty was on the right. He had just gotten around Domingos on the outside. Domingos was on the inside, who had just gotten passed around the outside by Rusty.
Right.
Rusty then was going back over to the driving line, which is on the left, to approach the right turn chicane for turn 11. He wasn't clear of him, though. So...
Right.
I'm sure the stewards... I don't want to make any kind of determination necessarily, because I would have to review the footage. I would imagine that the stewards are going to review that after the race, but it's a combination of maybe Rusty being a little too aggressive, thinking he cleared him, and sticking his car to the left, and at the same time, I think Domingos could have maybe reacted a little bit quicker to avoid contact too. But again, it's hard to say.
It's definitely hard driving.
It's all happening within the blink of an eye, right? So it's easier said than done. So we're on board with Vapor. He's 2/10, 1/10 behind.
There's a nice little battle going on between Rusty and Broke Controller.
So let's go on board actually then with Rusty. Rusty is another one who he joined us some time ago. I believe
I've had some run-ins with him before.
Yeah, I mean, in practice lobbies, the reality is we're all going to push the limits because we have to try to find the limits so that we can try to avoid that on race day, right? But Rusty is one of those guys that, in his own words, he wasn't the most experienced with sim racing, but just like all of us here, he's got a passion for it. He loves it. We're happy to have him, and he's seen so much improvement. I've seen so much improvement in Rusty. And to be honest, I didn't think when Rusty first joined our league that I'd be seeing him fight for P6, P5, and he gets the job done on Broken.
Oh, he does.
So this is a situation there as well in that overtake where Rusty maybe went a little bit wider and ended up going a little bit deeper than maybe he anticipated for the pass. But at the same time,
clipping his front wing as well.
Did he? Well, I was going to say it takes two to tango because Broken saw him coming and gave him the space. So really heads up driving by both of the guys. I didn't see them. No, he's.
I don't believe there was any. I don't believe there was any damage done, but it was a bump.
Okay, a little bit of a bump, but a little bit of a hip check is, in soccer, hockey, or something. For me, that's acceptable.
It's part of racing.
Part of racing. It means I'm coming through. Excuse me. So Nice move by Rusty. Again, very, very impressed by the progress Rusty has made. Super proud of that guy, and we'll see where he ends up in the rest of the race. Meanwhile, Vapor is still just behind Frankie.
He is trying his darnest to get this job done.
He is, but Frankie at the same time is doing his best to stay ahead. So kudos to both guys. Vapor on the overtake in turn 14. He's much braver than I am.
Yeah, definitely not something I would try again.
We're going to go on board with Monkey because Monkey... Oh, and Broken Controller gets back past Rusty. Oh, Rusty goes into the pits. Maybe he did have wing damage. No, he didn't.
No, he was just going for a change of tires.
So maybe he's starting to feel the wear.
You think? On lap 13?
I think it's possible. It's hard to tell because we don't have the telemetry. But let's see. Let's go back on board then. Who was that was fighting? Oh, Monkey Mafia. What? Scorpio goes off. And now Monkey Mafia. Oh no, it looks like they're all getting lapped by Steinmeier. But yeah, Monkey Mafia is still right behind Scorpio. So even if they've been lapped, they're still fighting for position here. We're gonna stay on board.
It looks like one's gonna. Oh, never mind.
He got
a lot of drivers do that.
What's that?
It seems like they sometimes take a line across the pit line.
Yeah, the only way I'll ever do that is if I'm drafting somebody, and even if they're jumping into the pits, I'll follow them for a second just to catch that draft before I get back onto the straight. But
right.
I don't know why they would be doing that if they're not drafting a car that's going into the pits. My only guess is that on that bank turn 14, you're turning to the right. If you oversteer a little bit, your car goes even further to the right? So sometimes they have to countersteer to get to start looking away from that pit entry to back up to the straight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So let's see who's the closest battle right now. So Vapor.
Vapor's going to try to dive down the inside.
And really nice
Doesn't
driving
quite get the job done again.
Really nice driving by Frankie.
I think at this moment, I believe maybe Vapor's trying to switch tactics a little bit, try to send it up the inside or fake a move, trying to get, football off his game a little bit. But I don't believe it's going to work.
But that's the thing, though. Vapor has been behind Frankie for, it's been what, like 5, 6, 7 laps now?
Right.
So the beautiful thing about a longer race is you don't have to get the move done, in lap 1, right? It's not a 5-lap online race.
That's right.
And if you are patient, you're watching the guy ahead. You know where you brake. You can see where he brakes, and you start to figure out, okay, maybe he brakes early in this turn, where I brake much later that turn. And you don't want to reveal that because you want to use the element of surprise to try to maybe throw it down the inside somewhere. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think that's what Vapor's doing. He's scouting his opponent, so to speak. He's getting some reconnaissance, and he's trying to figure out where can I possibly make this move because while Vapor is fast, Frankie's no slouch either.
Well, I believe one of the best places on this track to make a good move is the penultimate corner before the straight. You can actually get a good side-by-side race. And
Yuppie is side-by-side with NAFTA. It looks like he's going to pass him down the main straight.
Oh, they are side-by-side.
And looks like Yuppie, they're still there. He's hanging around the outside. What's going to happen? NAFTA's still there. He's still there.
Looks like it's switched back to the...
And NAFTA, yeah, he yells.
Tim Lee's going to be out in front, too.
Yep, and Tim Lee just ahead. So nice move by Yuppie. NAFTA, who we know is so quick, especially in the dry, it looks like he's struggling a bit. But that's what happens when you're dealing with the dirty air, because it would have been a completely different story if he was out in front. So I'm going to go back on board with Vapor. This is the battle for P2. Frankie, Football Beast in P2. Vapor in P3. And really, we've got Oso just behind in P4.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. Oso is actually right up the tail of Vapor at this moment. So now it's going to be a three-way battle for P2.
So let's see what's going to happen here. Now, whoever blinks first, whoever braver on this turn 14, it's so easy to get caught out. Daily Dust of Death gets out of the way there.
All of them just using up every bit of ERS.
Everything, as late as possible on the brakes. It looks like Yuppie's still behind Tim Lee. Tim Lee with a nice exit out of turn 14. So he looks like he's going to hold on to that position. We're going to stay on board with Steinmeier. And it looks like, who is that? It looks like Nico John went off. Nico John went off. So he was in, it was 10th and 11th for the racing points, and he lost the position. So now Nico John into 12th, and Shep is making his way up. So Shep looks like he's slowly finding the grip. He's slowly finding the limits. And Vapor, man, oh man, this is a very, very, very close battle. I think if you really look at the telemetry, it seems that Vapor is probably slightly faster car, but it doesn't matter if you can't get ahead.
Not only that, if you're looking at the telemetry between cars, notice how much ERS is between the cars, because Vapor is still high in his ERS. Yeah, I don't believe he's holding on to it. I just don't believe he's comfortable pressing it, because especially in this rain.
And McLaren, he turns it, he gets turned around between 13 and 14. The leaders are now making their way past.
Steinmeier just has had no worries. This is a Sunday drive for him.
It is, but he's got to stay on top of it, because he goes off, and it doesn't matter if he would have led for 35 out of 36 laps. If he goes off, there's still a possibility he can end up maybe not in last place because there's already another DNF, but that lead can easily slip away. So he's got to stay laser focused, and I'm sure he will be.
Looks like Bro Controller was in the pit.
Yeah, Bro Controller changed tires. So he's also must have been suffering from tire wear.
Well, at lap 17, I could understand that.
I think it's, yeah, so I think now we're going to start to see people jump into the pits for a second set of tires that ideally will last till the end. So we're on board with Vapor. Vapor, who is, oh, and Yuppie gets past Tim Lee. Yuppie gets past Tim Lee.
He does.
So we'll go back on board with Vapor. So the McLaren of Tim Lee is falling behind a bit, but the teammate of Vapor is still fighting here at the front just about. So we're halfway into the race, and we've still got a big, big train of cars here. It's so close. So Frank has been able to stretch that lead a bit to about 6-7 tenths, but it's tit for tat, because you can see that the only way that Frankie gets ahead is when Vapor makes a slight error, and vice versa. Sometimes it seems like Vapor can't catch him, and then Frankie will make a slight error and they catch each other. So in my opinion,
that's what it's going to boil down to here is those slight errors and who can take advantage of each one.
Well, right, but I was gonna say that's, in my opinion, that's what makes her the most exciting racing, when you have two people who are at the absolute limit of their own driving ability, and in a way, it's almost like you have to do better than you even thought possible to get to the car ahead, and it just makes for some spectacular moments. So we're halfway into the race, and these guys are still 5 tenths apart. So we're gonna have to
just
keep our eyes on them.
Racing.
It really does. It's a battle of will, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's a battle of who's willing to go balls to the wall.
Right, while still keeping the car in control, which is a very, very tough task. So
it's a difficult thing to do.
We're on board with NAFTA. NAFTA's just behind Tim Lee. His teammate Yuppie got past him just a lap or two ago. Tim Lee, you can see, is struggling a little bit on the corner exits. You can see him drifting that thing around. You know drifting better than anybody, right? You would have.
So you brought jokes with you today, did you?
Yeah.
Look, if you're going to be the drift king, then you got to pull off
absolutely
sideways
You got to
drifting.
get fully sideways, otherwise get out of here with that.
And anybody can do that, but it takes a real man to hold on to it.
Right. And Frankie goes into the pits, so
yeah, football into the pits.
Let's see where
Vapor's going to...
So
Vapor's absolutely going to...
Frankie's got 2.4 seconds to the car ahead, so for the most part, he's got some clear air. If he gets some very clean outlaps here, I think he can stay ahead. But what do you think Vapor's going to do? Vapor saw him pit, so what is his response now? What do you think?
I think it's really all about how much tire life that Vapor's got left. If he thinks that he could push it a little bit further, I don't know.
And Steinmeier comes into the pits.
it's probably right there at the limit.
And Vapor just put in the fastest second too.
So who knows? He might have.
He might still have it. And Oso is just behind him. Again, Oso, we were talking about him earlier. He's had some incidents, but he has shown good pace. Maybe the final results haven't always been there, but he's here now and he's fighting for P3. Vapor thought about going into the pits, but he keeps it going.
I wonder what do you believe that he thought about going into the pits, or you think he might have been trying to,
he was trying to throw off the guy behind. Yeah, he was trying to throw off the guy behind. Yuppie, he just puts in the fastest lap on 19-lap-old, 20-lap-old just about tires. So the tires do still have some grip, but the other thing that tells me is the track is starting to dry out. Do you think it's possible that we might have a dry? I don't think so. But you think it's possible that we might have a dry end of the race?
I don't know. If we do, it might be 4, maybe 6 laps left.
Not much, right?
Not much.
Do you think some of these guys are trying to stretch their tires to the dry crossover point?
I mean, I would like to think that.
Right.
I mean, simply because why would you want to change if you're getting ready to go onto dry tires? But right now, it doesn't look like there's any end in sight.
No, that and some of the guys are still putting in the fastest laps, like Yuppie on old tires. Oh, and Yuppie spun.
Yuppie spun.
Yuppie spun. He spun in, what turn is that? Turn 9. He must have either clipped the inside curb or went too wide and touched the grass on the corner, and he would have been accelerating. And once you accelerate on that grass, it's so easy to get turned around. So that's unfortunate for Yuppie. And Vapor stays out, so it seems like he's trying to make these tires last until a possible crossover point.
It would definitely be interesting to see how much tire life he has left in those tires.
So now Steinmine, I'm fairly positive he can see on his timing board that Vapor's behind him still on old tires. And based on that, Steinmine will also know that Vapor's in a good position if he can make those tires last to gain a lot of time by maybe coming in at the perfect time for the dry tires. So Steinmine will be watching the timing board to see the progress of Vapor behind him, and everyone is, on their toes because no one really knows what's going to happen. So Rusty, he's actually up into P3 as Shep gets a 3-second time penalty. So amazing drive so far by Rusty. He's been a little feisty today, but nothing wrong with that in my opinion. He's been fighting for his positions. He's up into P3. It's paying off. A little bit of an incident with, who was it, Domingos earlier in the racing point, but
that's correct.
It's hard to say who was at fault there. I'm sure, again, the stewards will take a look at that after the race. For now, he's got to keep his head down. He's got to keep pushing, and that's what he's doing. And
so right now, it's going to be an interesting battle between Oso and Rusty, and we're definitely going to keep an eye out to see if Rusty could get his position back.
Yeah, and let's see. Shep went into the pits. Who was that? Tim Lee into the pits, so they're on new inters.
Well, also, too, Football Beast up into P5. He's also trying to fight back for his position and not too far behind him at all.
And Yuppie just pit again. So Yuppie, who had just gotten the fastest lap on 19 old tires, pit. Vapor ended up pitting as well. So it doesn't look like anyone's really going to stretch anymore.
Do you believe Yuppie might have had some damage somewhere?
It's possible, but I don't think he got damaged when he spun. Let's go on board with Daily Dose of Death. He's going into the pits, so he's not going to try to stretch those any further. Scorpio is in P12, and Daily Dose of Death gets a penalty for crossing over that pit entry line. You've got to be so careful there. So Scorpio, 20-lap-old, enters. Can he possibly stretch these a little bit further to the dry crossover point? I'm not sure if he can.
At this point, I just don't see any point.
Especially not when you see everyone else around you just going for that two-stopper on the inters.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's better just to fight everyone on their strategy, unless you know for sure you got a better one. So let's go on board with Tim Lee. Tim Lee is in 8th place. He's just behind Domingos in the racing point at 7th. They're both, and Tim Lee goes
he goes a little bit deep into that corner.
But here's the thing, Tim Lee's on fresh inters, and Domingo's on 11-lap-old inters. So Domingos, I think he actually pit early because he might have had some wing damage, but that's going to cost him because is it even possible for Domingos to make it to the end already? Because if they got 13 more laps to do, that would be 25 lap stint on the.
I'm not sure. The way these guys were pushing it into 20 laps makes me think that it might be possible, but.
Right.
If it were up to me, I'd probably have to pit again. It just wasn't a very good tire change. I mean, he changed tires because he broke his wing.
Oh, and Shep makes a move down the inside of Scorpio, and he gets it done. That was in, what turn was that? Turn 10. Now they're approaching turn 11. Oh, and Scorpio goes a bit deep.
Scorpio goes deep, too. Yeah. That seems like the corner there.
Everyone's getting caught out. Everyone's trying to brake at the brake point where they're, braking in the dry.
Well, that's definitely one corner that'll kind of sneak up on you if you're not. You need to brake, but also use that inside curb to kind of follow a line around to the left side bend.
And Tim Lee's behind Domingos. Now they're trying to get to that. They're coming down turn 11.
Scorpio comes into the pit.
Yeah, so he wasn't able to make those tires last. Danger Dan also is into the pit. And this is just wild because NAFTA P9, Tim Lee P8, Domingos P7, all these guys are mighty quick. What's going to happen? Oh, and Tim Lee hits the inside wall. He's going to jump into the pits. So he just pit.
And he's going to be in behind NAFTA.
He just pit. So now he has to pit again. Oh, he's going to
What happened?
He lost traction on...
Broke his wing.
Yeah, turn 14. He lost the rear end. That sent them out to the right into the inside wall. So everybody is sliding around, everybody's drifting, everybody's fighting for the grip, and there's really none available.
I just don't see any end to this rain.
I don't think so. I think we're going to go inches to the end. And
it looks like NAFTA's going to be right on the heels of Domingo.
Yeah, we're on board with NAFTA. NAFTA P8, Domingos P7. This is the battle for P7. NAFTA, who qualified, I believe he qualified 6th. He had incredible pace in qualifying. We know he has incredible pace. Oh, and Domingos goes a little bit wide. There was a little bit of a hole there.
But if you saw NAFTA actually got his tire up on that curb, and I think that slowed him down a bit.
If it didn't slow him down, he had to back off because he knows that if you clip that inside too much, it could easily spin you. So he smartly backs off a little bit. It's much better to back off and live to fight another day versus to push it and then spin and get out of the race.
And that's exactly what he did. He's fighting.
And Domingos was into the pits. So he was already thinking about it. Will these tires last to the end? And he's determined that they wouldn't. So he's into the pits. So NAFTA now is into P7. So NAFTA again, who qualified really well. He had an incident early in the race with some wing damage. And he had to put him at the back of the pack. Now he's all the way up into P5. And his tires are 4 laps old, so he's going to be able to make it to the end. And Bro Controller, who's a couple spots up ahead, is on 7-lap-old tires, so he knows that Bro Controller ahead is going to be suffering more with tire wear. But the other thing that I see here with NAFTA is you can see the little fuel indicator coming up on his telemetry. So what that means is he's using up all of that rich, and this is the track that already uses up a lot of fuel even in standard. So he's going to have to drop back into lean, so that's going to cost him a little bit of time. But of course he would have been using that because he's trying to get up back through the field from the back of the pack. So it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. But
yeah, because I mean when you have to drop down into that lean fuel mixture, you're going to lose even more time.
But at the same time, it does give you better traction at the exits, the corners. So it's about finding the right balance, right?
That's right. I typically keep the rich fuel mixture. And he goes into the wall, and so does the Red Bull.
And NAFTA clipped the wall, and there's a safety car. There's a safety car. 10 laps.
Is it virtual or full?
No, full safety car.
So we are going to get a full-blown safety car.
Unbelievable. Can you believe this?
This is insane.
Can you believe this? Unbelievable.
I absolutely can.
So Vapor, his tires are 2 laps fresher than Stein's, and Vapor knows he has the pace to beat Steinmine. It's going to be just about not impossible, but it's going to be it's going to be a big challenge to get around Stein, but he knows that his pace in qualifying was better. He knows it. However, it's one thing to be fast in qualifying, and it's one thing to be able to overtake a car cleanly on the track.
Exactly. And that's what I was mentioning earlier as far as that rhythm of this track. If you can go out and set a fast qualifying lap, but unless you have that full rhythm for that race, that full race, you're just gonna slide in and out. It's going to be very interesting to see how long the safety car is going to stay out for. And it looks like there's a little bit of confusion as far as the order goes. We've got Stein right behind the pace car, but then we have the Racing Point of Domingo lined up in the P2 position. But that does put Vapor ever so much closer to Stein, where Stein was just walking away with this thing. I mean, he was long gone. But now we've got the Racing Point in between.
But yeah, they're not fighting for position, but they're trying to make their way back. And they're coming up the safety car now. But yeah, we have a Racing Point in between. A few cars in between.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's a few cars, and how is that going to do for Vapor, who is fighting for, you know, the P1 position, and we have a car off the track.
Yeah, Daly does the death. I think he was just trying to let him through, to be honest. But Vapor's going to have to just relax here, because if there is lap traffic, unless they get the go-ahead to unlap themselves, then he's got to wait. And it looks like there was a collision with Daly. Oh, and Monkey Mafia went off. He went off. So Vapor's got to have to be smart here, because I know it's frustrating to see the lead car, but unless these lap
other cars in between that as well.
Yeah, but unless these lap cars get the go ahead to unlap themselves, then it is what it is. He's got to remain behind. So Steinman will be seeing that lap traffic, and that's playing into his hands.
Yeah, absolutely. He's probably quite relieved to see those cars behind him.
Now here's the thing. What if some of these guys may go into the pits potentially? I'm not sure, but we're not sure. But the guys, you know, in their drivers' meetings, they would have gone over this again and again. New blue flag rules. Once we get back to green flag racing, unless you're able to run away from the lead car, or unless you're fighting for position, and it looks like they are kind of fighting for position, but ideally,
we've got a couple diving down into the pits now as well.
Yeah, we do. Who is that? It looks like Daly does the death and Monkey Mafia. I think they actually had a collision, so their front wings may have been compromised there. So it looks like they're going to do one more lap under safety car. I think now that everyone's being brought back together, I think NAFTA's actually got a really good chance to try to get back up through the field.
Looks like there's a little bit of confusion as to what's going on with position between the Racing Point and the McLaren.
And Daly does the death, gets a penalty for crossing the pit exit line. You've got to stay to the right.
Seems like a very big
it's happening a lot.
Issue here of late.
Yeah. You've got to stay to the right of the white line.
And severe collision with Football Beast from Oso. He's going to get a 5-second penalty for it.
Yeah, they both got 5-second penalties for that, I would imagine. contact into the safety car. So they'll serve that after the race. I'm not sure why Frankie is past. He needs to just chill out a little bit, stay back. There's no real need to push the.
It's very hard to get your mind around all these cars and being in a race to not be racing.
That and we know this from being on our team radio in the race. What's happening in the safety car? Put the car in lead. What else is happening in the safety car? Watch your tire temperature. There's so much happening. And it looks like football, Frankie, he left the race. So is that a rage quit?
I don't believe so, with him being in P4.
Yeah, but he must have got angry that there was a collision and it cost him 5 seconds. So not what you like to see.
Yeah, but there's another severe collision.
Scorpio and green flag. They're back to green flag. So Yuppie got caught out. He got passed immediately by Bro Controller. Oh, and Rusty jumps down the inside. But it was too aggressive if you ask me, and he spun. Rusty spun.
He did.
He was a little too aggressive there. He didn't get braked enough, in my opinion.
Oh, and Vapor gets around one of the lap cars and is going around the Red Bull now.
Oh, and Nico John goes off.
It looks like he's got some pace.
Yeah, he does. So, who's ahead of him? There's 2 cars ahead of him, I believe.
There's a Ferrari ahead of him.
There's a Ferrari, a McLaren, and a Racing Point.
And a Racing Point, yeah.
And they're all battling for position. So technically, unless they're really obstructing him, they do have a right to try to fight for their positions because they are fighting for their own respective position, even if they are locked down.
Will they not be blue flagged though?
They are being blue flagged. So ideally, you want to see them back off. But now we're starting to get into the gray area where they can argue, well, we were fighting for position. Ideally, they all back off and respect each other's position. But you know what happens if you're one of the cars that's backing off? What if the other lap car doesn't and then tries to pass you? It starts to get a little messy.
Well, this is another thing too, because they are ghosted on being lapped. We do have that glitch sometimes where a car goes to another car and it throws them off. We've seen that before.
Well, Vapor will be able to drive right through them, but to drive through them, you have to be faster than them, right? And what if he's not faster than them in this stage of the Grand Prix? So we're going to see.
Well, he does get by his teammate.
So Vapor is just behind the lap car of Shep. And as all this is happening, he's in the dirty air and he's losing time. So he's going to pass Shep here, it looks like. Oh, and Shep
the Ferrari spins, and so does the...
Yeah, they touch Domingos. Shep and Domingos go off. Oh, Shep keeps it on track, but Domingos goes off. Very unfortunate.
So Vapor is in wide open territory now to try to hunt down San.
So 4 seconds, 4.6, the gap. He's got 5 laps. He needs to cut the lead by about a second a lap to have a chance on the last lap.
It's a lot to ask for, but it's not impossible.
He's already cutting down the gap. 4.6, now he's down to 4.3.
Well, if I could definitely make a suggestion to Vapor, it is definitely time to start boosting up that ERS. Let him have it.
Hammer time. Give it everything. The Vapor's got 52%.
And it seems like that's what looks like it's what he's going to do. He used about 25-30% of ERS down that straightaway.
No more saving in the piggy bank. Now he's using it, and he's right to do so.
And it does cut it down. He's right at 4 seconds.
Just about 4 seconds. So Nico John looks like he got past. Oh, Monkey Mafia was in the pits. Oh, Nico John goes a little bit wide in turn 1. He goes a little bit wide. So let's go back on board then.
And it looks like Bro Controller and Oso are gonna, if they can keep these positions,
Gunther's
they're
gonna
gonna
be happy, huh? Team Haas.
Yeah, I would definitely be happy with the constructors' points in those 2 positions.
Yeah, because these guys, the Haas, let's see, Haas is down to 7. So this would be very, very solid points for the Haas as Bro Controller touches that inside curb. Now, Ben,
as well for Mercedes.
Ben, NAFTA, he had some wing damage on lap 1. So he hit on lap 1 or 2 and had to change the wing, and he cycled back into the back of the pack. So this was another recovery drive by NAFTA, but he's done well to get himself back up to P6. But ideally, NAFTA would have been battling up and at the front with Steinlein and Vapor. But
it looks like Stein is just holding Vapor at that 4-second
he is
time mark.
He is. But at the same time, now Vapor's cutting into the lead a little bit. So now it's down to 3.8. Let's go on board with Space Cowboy Shep. He's in P10. He's right behind the McLaren of P9. Oh, and he gets a little bit sideways on the exit of turn 3. Ben, you missed Canino and NAFTA up top. I think Canino may or may not miss fighting at the very, very, very top as well, but we welcome him in Tier 1. And you, Ben? You think you guys are going to have some great fights in Tier 1?
Absolutely.
But we'll focus on that tomorrow. So again, Shep, P10, he's just behind Tim Lee in P9. We're on board with Shep. And as he's trying to chase down Tim Lee, let's go on board with Rusty, because Rusty, he's put in an excellent drive today. Maybe a little feisty. Some would say maybe, depending on your perspective and your point of view on the matter, your philosophy on racing, you could say some of them were a little bit over the top. But he's riding that fine line, and he's been making overtakes. It's been such an improvement from Rusty, and he's finding himself in P7 just behind NAFTA. So to be able to keep up with NAFTA, you got to pat yourself on the back, because NAFTA is no slouch.
Absolutely not.
And he's still there. So major kudos to Rusty. Rusty will need to stay laser focused here to make sure he keeps it on track. What were you saying?
And I believe that, Rusty can feel himself in P6 and is definitely going to make it happen. He's got the pace for it.
He's got a sniff of it, right?
Absolutely.
So you can see these guys, they're fighting for grip. It looks like there's really none available.
Looks like Vapor's going to fall back a little bit. Maybe another mistake?
He is starting to fall back a bit. It's possible. It is possible. We're going to stay on board with Rusty, because this is turning out to be the battle here in the final stages of the race. Can he get by? Is he going to be able to find a move on NAFTA? NAFTA, who is a great driver.
Oh, that was a clean move. That was a clean line through there.
Yep. NAFTA, who is a great driver, a great offensive driver, a great defensive driver. Is Rusty going to be able to put it together? This is a really nice assessment in a way for... Oh, and Rusty, he needed to back off a bit to set himself up for a move on the straight.
Oh!
And Domingos... Oh, no. And Rusty, he goes into the back of NAFTA. NAFTA will be furious. NAFTA will for sure be talking to the stewards after the race there, because he will feel that was absolutely not fair.
That's what I was gonna say a minute ago.
The lap cars
with NAFTA being, on the defensive, will Rusty be a little bit over aggressive?
Well, you also said it too, right? When those lap cars are starting to go in and around you, it can 100% throw you off. I think that's the argument that Rusty will be making. The guys are probably going to get called to the principal's office on that one. But Rusty will argue all day that a lap car just jumped into his field of view right as he was entering the braking point. So
not much you can do there.
Not much you can do. I don't think it was intentional, but I know NAFTA for sure will probably file an incident report there, and the stewards will have to review. But for now, the guys have to keep their head down, and they have to keep pushing. NAFTA, he's got to go faster.
Oh, Space Cowboy's going to get a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings.
So NAFTA, let's just say that Rusty does get a 5-second penalty after the race. It won't matter if NAFTA can't stay 5 seconds behind him, but NAFTA's got to push. As the lead car's on the final lap.
He has fallen back quite a bit. And Rusty definitely has that pace to, push out ahead of him.
So Bro Controller... Yeah, he did. Stein, I would say probably on the over-aggressive, on the impatient side, but we'll let the stewards review.
It looks like broke controller and Oso, the two Haas teammates, are going to be the closest battle at this point.
I can guarantee
Domingo,
and Domingo's and Tim Lee, right? I can guarantee you right now, Gunther is yelling into this team radio to tell these guys to not crash each other out.
Yeah, that would definitely be an unfortunate thing. They need to look after, the points for the team as well as themselves.
But they're making their way on turn 14. They got to keep it tidy through. Oh, and he lets them by.
Could that be low fuel? It is.
He's out of fuel.
He's going to run out of fuel.
They're both out of fuel. Who's going to cross the line first?
Oh, that was very interesting. Why one ran off into the grass.
He was getting out of the way of his teammate, but let's go on board.
Not knowing that they were both out of fuel.
Oh, and Monkey, my goodness, the end of this race is just insane. Tim Lee, they all crossed the line already.
Here comes Nafta across the line.
But Monkey Mafia is right behind Nico John, P12 and P13. They're crossing the line. There's nothing between them. Oh, my goodness. That was just a couple of tenths.
And it looks like Football Beast is still out on the track, hasn't crossed the line yet either.
He hasn't. So it doesn't really matter what happens here because he's in P8 anyway, but I think that's his AI as well because he never made it back.
Oh, that's correct.
Jesus, I got to get my my heartbeat down again. That was an insane end of the race there.
It definitely was.
But what do you think about Steinmine? Because Steinmine, all the pressure was on Steinmine to not make a mistake, and he delivered in the end on the restart, didn't he?
Look, I understand when you're in P1, it is a bit of a pressure, but I don't believe he had any pressure whatsoever in this race today. I believe he was calm and collected and just walked away with it. Just solid performance.
Solid performance, but on that restart at least, I would argue differently. I would argue that he was sweating. I would argue that his heart was pumping. I would argue that he felt a tremendous pressure, and I think under tremendous pressure, he's delivered the goods here. So big ups to Steinmine. Very, very solid drive.
It definitely helped too with the lap cars being in between him and Vapor. I definitely believe that it probably relieved some of the pressure that he could, go on about his drive while Vapor had a bigger, more difficult task ahead of him.
Well, you always do want to see a moving chicane in your opponents, right? So that's the order.
Definitely got it.
I'm not even going to necessarily run through the order. You can see it on your screen. But the top three, Steinmine, Vapor, and Yuppie had great pace today. Nafta was another one that had a great pace today, but there was an incident between Nafta and Rusty, and in the end, it looks like Nafta was 6 seconds behind.
Also, too, a very interesting thing with Stein getting the fastest lap of the race, but look at the time difference between him and Vapor.
I mean, it's not much.
Not much at all.
We'll go through the incidents here, see what happened during the race. Quite a bit, but for the most part, I gotta say I'm impressed by the guys, especially in the rain. I didn't think that we'd be seeing a full wet rain, but that's what we got here today.
I'm definitely impressed with the drivers that came out of this with no penalties.
No penalties. That's crucial because you can easily move up the order there, but looks like that's going to be it for today's race. So thank you everyone for joining. Again, this is the Performance Racing League, the development tier 2, round 5 at Zandvoort. Next week we will be returning. And what is the track next week? I should know this stuff off the top of my head, and I can pretend like I do, but I don't. So I'm looking it up right now. Next week, it's going to be Spain. We're going to be at Spain. Again, it's going to be
definitely a great track.
Yeah, I love that track. It's going to be more of a traditional circuit. So next week on Saturday will be round 6 for the development tier 2, and tomorrow, check it out. Tomorrow is going to be tier 1 at Zandvoort, and that's going to be at 12:45 p.m. Eastern, 17:45 p.m. UK time. Thank you for joining me, Chibuto.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you everyone else for tuning in. And for now, we're going to end the broadcast. So take care.